Hey, fifth graders. Today we're going to be talking about point of view. And what we're really doing is we're going to talk about point of view so that you can read a book and try to figure out who's telling the story and why they're telling it the way they are. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to look at this little picture right here. It has 4 different sticky notes. I want you to study this anchor chart, and I want you to think about a time when you were reading and notice the narrator or character's point of view on an event. So how did their point of view or perspective affect your understanding of that event? How did the point of view affect the story? So let's read these. It says, describing point of view of the narrator or speaker. Who is telling me the story? We ask that question to ourselves a lot. Who is telling me the story? What clues tell their feelings about events or topics? So how do they feel about this event? How do we know that? What words are they using? What do you think they sound like when they're writing this? How does the narrator or speaker's point of view impact how the events are told? So how does this make you feel? The way that this person is talking about it, how does it make you feel about that event? So I want you to think, when have you noticed this? When have you noticed the way someone feels in a book? So in the past, we've compared and contrasted different points of view in stories and how stories are told differently because of the point of view. So for example, some stories are told in first person, where you will notice one character is the narrator. And then some stories are told like as the speaker. So if I wrote a story about myself, that would be me so the narrator is a character in the story, right? So you will find out that once you know who is telling the story, you will be able to talk about how and why the stories or events are told by their point of view or perspective. So I want you to take out your notebook or a piece of paper and write down your goal for reading today. So your goal for today is to focus on the narrator's point of view, their feelings about events, and how the narrator's point of view impacts the way we understand the story. Okay? You can pause this video to write this down. As you read your independent novel, fiction, or short story, which you can do that by going on to Get Epic, use the following stems to help you think through your jotting and writing about reading. So you'll use a piece of paper to write down these ideas. So the first question I want you to ask yourself as you're reading is, in the title, right? So in this book that you're reading, so let's say you're reading a story about a little girl who gets lost. You'll put in blank in this book, how does the narrator's point of view affect how the story is told? So you're going to ask yourself that question. The next question you're going to ask yourself is, how does the narrator of the story describe blank? So basically you put the topic there, right? How does the author describe blank? And the last question I want you to ask yourself is, how might this story be different if another character had told it? I have always asked you guys to do this as you read, is to think, okay, how would it be different if another character in the story told this story, right? Would they be sad about it? Would they be happy? Would they feel different than the character who is telling the story? This is a really interesting question to ask yourself. So after you have read with a focus on the narrator/character and their point of view, their feelings about the topics and events and how their point of views impact the story, you will complete a Nearpod activity. So the Nearpod activity is right below this video, and that's what you're going to complete after you finish your reading. This week, we are going to have scheduled conferences, and I'm going to be starting those tomorrow, and then they'll be on Wednesday and Thursday as well. Your parents have either signed you up or maybe you signed yourself up, and all you'll have to do is click on a link. For me, if you do not take class with me, Ms. Harvey, then you will have to get instruction from your teachers as to how you guys are conferencing. So, and during this time, you will be able to ask me any questions you have about this, but you're also going to have the opportunity to read with me, and I'm going to talk to you more about point of view at that time. I hope you have a wonderful Monday. Please get on to Get Epic, and what you're going to do is make sure you're focusing on this goal for today and you're going to read a fiction book on Get Epic. All right, have a great Monday.